Hi, this is Savannah,
And this is Brian from the Dorky Diva Show,
and you're listening to Starboars.
the best place for below average Star Wars.
Welcome to Starboars, the best place for below average Star Wars.
And welcome to the Star Wars Show, the best place for below average Star Wars. I'm the Jolly Jedi Pete, and I'm joined this week by Canon Junkie XL Ian. Ian, how are you doing?
I'm good, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm great, thanks. I'm absolutely brilliant. Obviously, we've come together today to discuss The Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 3. It is Chapter 11, The Heiress. An absolutely fantastic episode, so I can't wait to speak to you about it.
Yeah, name too, mate. It's been my favourite episode of the show so far.
Which, when you consider how good that opening episode of Season 2 was, the Marshal, and then just 2 episodes later, we've already beat it.
Yeah.
It just shows you how good this show is, I think.
Yeah. It just keeps getting bigger and better and delivering. Unbelievable.
Definitely. So, this is obviously episode 3 of season 2. It is chapter 11 of the overall story. It's directed by Bryce Dallas Howard, who also directed an episode in season 1. And it's written by showrunner Jon Favreau. So far this season, I think every episode's been written solely by Jon Favreau in the credits. Although a lot of these episodes have a lot of Dave Filoni and the story group all over them, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
In this episode, back co-starring Misty Rosas is back as the Frog Lady, reprising her role from the previous episode. And just a little tidbit for everyone, Misty Rosas was also the creature performer inside Kuriel from season 1.
Was she? I never knew it.
I think so, yeah. I believe so. And then we've got John Cameron performing the Frogman.
Frogman.
Frogman. I don't know what his name. To me, are they actually frogs? Or are they more like lizards?
They're just called. They're on the actual subtitles. It is Frog Lady and Frogman.
Because I was a bit like, are the frogs? Or the salamanders? Or the lizards? I don't know.
I have no idea. The guy called Frog Lady and Frogman on the subtitles on Disney Plus. So
there we go then, confirmed.
Yeah.
And then we've got Mercedes Fernando, otherwise known as WWE superstar Sasha Banks, playing Cosca Reeves. Katie Sackhoff reprising her role as Bo-Katan.
Yes.
We've got Simon Cassian Diaz as Axe Wolves. And someone who turned up for me, who, if you're a Sons of Anarchy fan, Titus Welliver as the Imperial Captain. Obviously plays Jimmy O'Phelan in Sons of Anarchy.
I knew him from somewhere. I knew that guy from somewhere. He's been in other stuff as well. He's been in Lost and that as well, hasn't he?
He's been in Lost, the Man in Black in Lost, I believe, yeah.
Yeah.
And then he was also in... Oh, what was he in? The Doctor Who spin-off. What's that called again?
No idea.
Not the Doctor Who spin-off, sorry, I'm thinking of something else. But he was in the show Deadwood. That is... So, a bigger cast than we had last episode. And obviously Giancarlo Esposito did reprise his role as Moff Gideon at the end there.
You know the Mon Calamari?
Yeah.
Janina Gavankar, who played Iden Versio, was one of the puppeteers on that.
Yeah, I believe she plays the one who fixes the Razor Crest. Who I've got a theory about him. We'll go into when we get in the episode.
Right.
This episode I thought started brilliantly. So it's again where episode 2 picked up directly where episode 1 left off. Episode 3 picks up directly where episode 2 left off.
Yeah.
It's like last time we seen him, Mandalorian said get some sleep, and then this episode starts and they just wake up from that sleep.
Yeah. I assume there's
which is great.
2 things have happened in between there, like on the way.
Yep. So they've arrived at
Trask.
So they arrive at Trask, And one of the things I noticed straight away was Trask looks a lot like Earth from the outside.
Yeah.
It's like greeny, bluey, browny colour, which is quite cool. And straight away, there's issues with landing. Mando says,
Yeah.
we're gonna have to like essentially hope we don't burn up, enter an atmosphere, and then I'll quickly put the brakes on so we don't crash into the ground, and I will land safely. Hopefully, is his plan.
Yeah.
So we get this sort of very intense landing sequence, which obviously Bryce Dallas Howard, daughter of Ron Howard, and it's pretty much a
I was going to
shot
say,
for shot retelling of the scene from Apollo 13, directed by her dad, Ron.
Yeah, she even confirmed it on Twitter saying, "Yeah, that's the inspiration. Like that's from her Twitter page." So yeah, 100%, it's a nod to her father's film,
which is awesome.
Yeah.
I think, like, if you've got a scene where you're doing the same thing and you want to pay homage to those who've come before you, especially those in your family,
especially your dad,
then, like, definitely do it. And obviously, Ron, does have a connection to Lucasfilm even before he directed Solo: A Star Wars Story.
Yeah.
He had a connection to Lucasfilm, so obviously dating back to when he starred in American Graffiti for George Lucas. So yeah,
I just watched The Simpsons with Ron Howard in the other day.
Awesome. I've not seen The Simpsons in a long time, actually. I think my favourite episode of The Simpsons is the one where Mr. Burns loses all his money and he's got to sell his house. I think it's also the one where he makes the fish chowder thing, where he catches the fish. But in that episode is the episode where Bret Hart guest stars. And he's going to buy his house, but that's the only reason why, it's because of Bret Hart.
Anyway.
Back to Star Wars. So we get this awesome sort of sequence, and again, like, I mean, if you look at the Krayt Dragon in episode 1, if you look at the Krykna spiders effects in episode 2, then if you look at this crash sequence here, ILM are just doing some outstanding work this season.
Especially when you think it's unbelievable. I love the whole thing where he's dropping down, and then you think, like, the bit that made me laugh, where he obviously stabilizes the ship just above the landing pad, and you think, oh, right, they've done it, and then the engine blows and he goes into the water.
So his exact plan actually pulls it off, and then the landing pad goes green on the computer, and like you sort of see all three of them in the cockpit, like almost do a sigh of relief, and then then you see the Mon Calas looking up, like, oh, who are these idiots? Oh, they haven't crashed, it's all right. And then that right engine blows up and just swings to the right and dives into the sea.
It was funny, that made me laugh.
Yeah. We then got the title screen, obviously Star Wars: The Mandalorian, episode chapter 11, the Heiress. As soon as the Heiress came up, I was like, we're getting Bo-Katan in this episode. So I didn't watch it when it released in the morning. I watched it on the night time, so I was probably like 14 hours after it aired. And I managed to stay off all social media, so I didn't see anything. I sort of saw that, and people were saying it was a big episode. So
I messaged you saying stay off social media, like, because you'll ruin it.
So, and then, like I said, as soon as I saw that, I was like, I got excited because I was like, oh my god, that could be Bo-Katan. It's amazing how in Star Wars, just like words on a screen can get you excited. Like, as soon as I come up the Heiress, I was like, oh my god, yes, this is going to be brilliant. I was like shouting across the room at Louise, my fiance. She had like her headphones in watching TikToks or something, and she was like, "What are you going on about?" I was like, well, "It could be Bo-Katan." She was like, "I don't know what Bo-Katan is," and I was like, oh, "All right, okay." So I was on my own, and pretty much watching this episode. She's usually in the room, preoccupied. So we get that, and then we see the guys exiting the ship. Go past this Mon Calamari. He's wearing like a blue jumper, woolly jumper. By the looks of it. Is it just me, or does, like, on this harbour port of Trask, to all the Quarren and all the Mon Calamari look like they're wearing like Carhartt like jumpers and dungarees and stuff? It's crazy, like how, like, almost got like, I mean, it's not made by Carhartt obviously, but like it's essentially what it looks like. But yeah, so you've got this sort of fishing village, Alaskan type, north of England type, like northern cold waters type town here, which is quite cool. So this Mon Calamari who Mando has to fix the ship, I think the Mon Calamari who has to fix the ship, who is played creature performed by Gina Gavankar from
Star Wars Battlefront.
who plays Aiden Versio. Yeah, plays Aiden Versio on Star Wars Battlefront 2. I think he's high. He looks high. He acts high. I think obviously in Star Wars he'd be higher on spice probably.
Yeah.
But he looks like a stoner and he sounds like a stoner. And his eyes are even like more red.
Yeah. Maybe, yeah.
And like the way he talks, he's a bit lackadaisical. Oh yeah, I'll try and fix it. And then later on, we'll talk later on, but like, again, like his response, how he fixes the ship, and then B, how he like just puts the pad in front of Mando to like sign it out. Doesn't really say anything. I think this Mon Calamari is a bit of a stoner, maybe a bit of a spice head, as would be called in Star Wars.
I do find it interesting though that they had Gina Gavankar do it, which makes me think. I don't see them just bringing her in to do that.
Yeah, interesting. So I mean, like, you know, Gina Gavankar, has she been around the sets?
Yeah, that's what.
Because she's been doing other things, and then they've asked her to do that.
Maybe she's fancied it, but I can't see them saying, "Oh, do you fancy being in the Mandalorian?" But you're just going to be a Mon Calamari. Like, there's plenty of people. No disrespect to it, there's plenty of people who could just do the puppeteering thing for the Mon Cala. And that makes me think like maybe Aiden Versio is going to be in season 2. Maybe.
Possibly. I mean, yeah. So I mean, for the problem I have is that like if someone rang Gina up to come and ask her to be a Mon Calamari, she would say yes.
She would. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So it's like whether they would, but who knows? But
it's just weird. Yeah, it's weird. Yeah.
And this timeline should be alive.
No, she would. Yeah. So. Yeah. She dies just after the Force Awakens in the timeline. Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah. So very, very interesting. So sort of from this we get sort of
they go into the tab. Oh no, obviously.
So you got Frog Ladies like looking around for Frog Man.
I loved it.
I loved it. And he's not there. Yeah, the way it's shot's beautiful. So like she's looking. I love how when they come out of the ship, like Frog Lady's just got her head up looking for Frog Man straight away. Where like Mando and the child obviously like, oh, the ship's knackered. What we're gonna do? But she's like not really bothered. I've got you now.
Yeah.
For free because she hasn't paid any money. And I just think Mando could be stranded as well. But she's got her priorities right because she wants her kids to get born.
Fair enough.
Yeah, definitely. So she's looking for Frogman. Looking around, don't think he's going to be there. Then he pops at the back of the shot. And then they have a really good embrace. And although they're not speaking English, and you don't know what to say, like just the language of like, just how they are and the music and the sound and the creature performance.
I love the little squeal she lets out when she runs to her.
Definitely. So fantastic stuff. So we know they're reunited and Mando's done some good in the world. Obviously the Frogman thanks Mando. And he sort of points him in the direction of the tavern, and he actually takes him to the tavern. And it's a tavern run by Mon Calamari.
Yeah.
Before they enter the tavern, you see that clip from the trailer where Sasha Banks is in a hood, spying, not in any armor or anything. So I actually find you got something right because in the trailer I was like, that hood looks like it could be like Night Owls from the Clone Wars. And obviously, as we found out, like they're not referred to as Night Owls, but she's in the same role as the Night Owls, the Bo-Katan. So I actually got something right for once, which was pretty cool. So Sasha Banks is watching them, then vanishes, and then they enter the tavern. They sit down. This is where I love this connection to season 1.
Yeah.
When the Mon Cal asks, like, what would they like? He orders some chowder for the child because he's very hungry. And he says, nothing for me. And the Mon Calamari's like, every seat, if you're in a seat in my pub, in my tavern, you've got to buy something. And Mandalorian says, I'll buy something else, information. And that's when he puts the calamari flan on the table that he got
Grief
off
in Series 1,
definitely. So that's coming handy because obviously it's currency. And that gets him out of this tricky situation. Doesn't have to order anything off the menu. While this is happening, chowder that the child has. It comes out of tubes, it's almost in a tank above the table, and you just like squirt it out, which I thought was quite cool. And there's a live squid in it, which attacks the child, which at first looked pretty violent because it's almost like over the child's like nose and mouth, so it could potentially suffocate the child. I thought it was quite
Mando weren't bothered though. He's like, don't play with food.
Yeah, don't play with your food. He says, the food's really playing with him. I think. And does he stab it, or does he just like
flick it off
with his knife? Yeah.
And Baby Yoda looks in the bowl and he looks a bit shocked. He's like, wow.
Yeah. So the one thing I noticed was that the Mon Cala and the Mon Calamari and the Quarren. So obviously they're both species native to Mon Cala, and in Star Wars we've seen not just in Clone Wars but also in the recent tie-in comics of Rise of Skywalker that the Quarren and the Mon Calamari don't necessarily get on.
The Quarren have always been the bad people, obviously not all of them, but obviously in the Clone Wars arc where they join the Separatists and that, they eventually come good, but they've always had a bit of a villainous streak, the Quarren.
Yeah. So here they seem to be coexisting pretty nicely. They're sharing the same bar, they're working in the same shipyards. They're not hiring horrible looks at each other, starting fights. So it seems to be pretty peaceful, which is good to see. No civil unrest going on.
Then they go on the boat.
Yeah, so you see the Mon Calamari actually then walks over to a Quarren and sort of tells them this guy's looking for Mandalorians. So one thing I noticed is that when Mando asks the Mon Calamari, he says, "Have you seen any of my kind before?" And he goes "Yeah, I've seen people of Beskar before." And that put me on notice because he's noticed the armor, and if they notice how much the armor's worth, which everyone seems to do at the minute, this could be a trap because he hasn't referenced them as Mandalorians. He said he's referenced it as the Beskar armor. And then we see him go over and he mentions to this Quarren. Quarren comes over, sits down, and he tells him, "Yeah, I've seen some of your kind. It's a few hours sail. I'll take you there. It's going to cost you a lot of money." So Mando agrees. What did he make of this this boat ride?
I've seen a boat in Star Wars. That was strange. We've never seen that before. I don't think we have.
Yeah, so I think this boat, it isn't catching fish. It's transporting the creature that lives in the boat, which is Mamako. They're transporting it, I think, from that where they were to somewhere else on the planet. So they're transporting the Mamako and they need to feed him. He says, "Have you seen the Mamako feed before? I'll show you. The child might like it." Straight away, I was
trust this guy.
You're being a bit too nice. Yeah, considering before you're it's going to cost you loads of money and keeping it simple. And now you all of a sudden want to give them a lesson in how things eat. Definitely bad vibes. And then I was quite shocked when we're sort of looking in, and then he just sort of kicks the child's floating buggy. I don't know what.
Yeah, floating buggy. I
don't know what's that.
No,
has it got a name? It's it's cocoon. It's floating cocoon. It's floating shell. It's floating pram or buggy. What's it called in America?
Something like that, yeah.
So, sorry, Americans, I got that wrong. That gets kicked in the tank, and the Mamako comes out to eat it. Luckily, Baby Yoda hits the switch, shuts the shell just as the Mamako grabs him. Mando, I love this. The Mando dives straight in. So I was a bit when he kicked the child in the tank. I jumped back in my seat because I was like, wow, damn, you can't be doing that. That's not good. I wasn't expecting it to come out of the blue. Even though I was expecting a trap and something to happen. When that happened, I was like, oh god. But then Mando dives straight in, which again shows you how much he sort of cares for this child. So he dives straight in. That's when they shut the grill. Sort of the bars come across, and lock the Mando in the water.
They're trying to drown him.
And they're all and they're hiring spears. They've got fibro spears, I think, and they're trying to get him with them. Luckily, the Mamako doesn't try and come and get him, probably because they're still trying to digest the child's metal pram. But and you think how's he going to get out of this? He can't get out because it holds the camera on him in this pool for a few moments where it's there's no way out of this really. And then that's when you see jetpacks land. three Mandalorians
I
strike.
knew it was as soon as I saw him. I knew it was Bo-Katan as soon as I saw him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the helmet design says it all. And I loved how the armor and the design is pretty much like, although it's not because it's a different medium, but it's almost like it's just been pulled straight out of the animation department and put on screen, which was fantastic. Same was all three of them. I think they look like almost like Bo-Katan and the Night Owls, exact same vibes that you get from the last season of Clone Wars. So yeah, I love how obviously the land, the three of them take care of all the corn, no problems asked. I noticed that like not only are they blasting people, but they're hand-to-hand combating, they're stabbing people with vibro knives. These Mandalorians are very, very handy, very, very dangerous. So yeah, they take care of business. They open the metal grill, the metal bars that let Mando out. Bo-Katan puts her hand out and says, "Take my hand," and he takes it, and it's almost reminiscent
the same shot of the first season with Death Watch, when the Death Watch guy, we don't know a name for him, obviously sticks his hand out and rescues him. So yeah, it's a callback to the first season.
Definitely. So that first season, the flashback scene where a young Din Djarin, who is the Mandalorian, and obviously his family been shot, he's hiding, and he gets saved. The Mandalorian puts his arm out to pull him out of the hole he's in. Here, Bo-Katan does the exact same. Almost the shots exactly the same, like for like, which I found very, very interesting. As we say, Star Wars is pottery, as George used to say. And again here, proving that again. I think, like, obviously they pull him out, and we get a very human moment here because he gets pulled out. He's like the child. Someone needs to get the child, and then Sasha Banks' character, Koska Reeves, dives straight in. I'm on it, very confident, and must kill.
I'll do something to it,
or at least injure it enough to spit out the child. Pulls it out, and then she also pulls the doors off the pram. And child's in there and he's safe, which is good. Mando's got a child and Mando's out of breath here. He's catching his breath, and he's obviously thanks them. So there'll be nothing for more of my kind, and then that's when the Mandalorians take the helmets off. I think this is where we learn how much of a sheltered upbringing Mando's had. He doesn't know anything about anything, like, because he kicks off. He's like, "Oh, use up Mandalorians where you get the armor from." And it's like,
Bo-Katan's ruler of Mandalore, so yeah.
Yeah,
my sister was the ruler of Mandalore as well.
Tells about. Yeah, that's. So yeah, and obviously but then you see Axe Wolves, the man Mandalorian. He says, "Oh, he's one of them," and he's one of these children of the Watch, which is sort of like I think Bo-Katan explains them as being
Zealots.
Sort of religious. Yeah, who believe in like the ancient ways is the only way. So I always thought that. I always knew because of Clone Wars, and I was like Mandalorians take the helmets off. That's not a thing. And I always thought that maybe the clan that he lived with, on it was again Navarro.
Oh yeah, it was Navarro. Yeah.
So it's the Mandalorian clan he lived with in Navarro, which was underground, which had this is the way and the helmets and all that sort of rules. I thought they'd adapted that way of life because of what had happened on Mandalorian, the Empire after the Purge. But it seems that this has happened. They just decided to live this way, not because of that. So sort of we're getting some answers now as to sort of why this happened. It makes perfect sense as well.
Splinter group. I wonder if they are Death Watch and they just called it the children because they're the children of Death Watch, or if it's a new thing.
So I think it's like so I don't think it is Death Watch, but I think it's what Death Watch became. So
because he was definitely rescued by Death Watch because they had the Death Watch signet on their armor. But
yeah. So I think that's what they became.
Group,
or what's left of Death Watch. This now became like what this is. These clans. Such a sheltered upbringing, considering that you didn't know what a Jedi was. You hadn't heard of Luke Skywalker. I know them stories are going around the galaxy. Here we find he doesn't understand Mandalorians.
Yeah,
take the helmets off. I think even references here that like Mandalore's cursed.
In the bar, when they jump
you can't go back to Mandalore because it's cursed. And it's like they're like, wait, what are you talking about? Type of thing. All these stories he's been told.
He's been radicalised, hasn't he?
We found out that I wouldn't say radical. Like perhaps I think like he's only been taught like certain information, so it's not as if he's ever because he's been raised by him as a kid. It's not like if I was radicalised.
Yeah, I suppose.
If someone's radicalised me or you, they'd have to disprove our education that we've had. Do you know what I mean? In our general knowledge, where like because he hasn't been in the outside world, his general knowledge is what he's been told by this clan, the sheltered upbringing. So like, he doesn't know any better. So yes, it's like he's been told stories, and that's all he knows. He's never seen any hollow recordings by the sounds of watched the news or like know about the galaxy's history. We find out that Trask is like a black market port.
Yeah, we've skipped over a bit. Obviously, when he leaves the ship, he gets confronted by Granda Corran, who's obviously related to the guy who ran the boat, and they say they're about to attack the Mandalorian, but obviously the other Mandalorians come down, and within seconds, the rest of them are dead.
Yeah, I love this because you find that like obviously Mando flies away from you're not Mandalorians because you took your helmets off. And I actually love when he goes there for the Mandalore, and it's like, what is a Mandalore?
Yeah.
What are you talking about again? It's like you're not you don't know.
Well,
like
in Legends, the Mandalore was like the ruler of Mandalore, wasn't it? Yeah. And so they're obviously the way of the Mandalore. So I'm guessing we'll find out more. So
he's on his own at the port again. He's walking with a child, gets attacked by a gang of Corran. Corran are saying that you killed my brother, so now I'm going to kill your pet. And then before Mando can do anything, Bo-Katan and I'm going to call them Night Owls for now, arrive. And Bo-Katan says, he didn't kill your brother, I did. Which I thought was like fantastic, great attitude. 100% Bo-Katan's attitude, what we've seen in the past. And the Mandos take care of all the Corran. And then they like buy you a drink. He says yes. They go to the back of the canteen. That's where they discuss it being Trask being Black Market Port. They're saying they're there to steal some ammunition that's been stolen from.
I don't know if it's
Mandalorian stuff. Is it from the past?
Here to weapons are being bought with the plunder of our planet. So I don't know whether obviously they've sold stuff and they're using that money too. But the weapons they had on we'll get into that later, but the weapons they had on the Gazanti look different from like normal Imperial weapons. So maybe they are Mandalorian weapons.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they've obviously bought them, so whoever was selling the weapons, I mean, I get the impression the Imperials have bought those weapons maybe from at the port. So obviously, Empire's dead. There's just little pockets of it left. After this point as well, aftermath happened, hasn't it? So like the main Imperials who are important have gone. They're now building the First Order in the unknown regions. So these guys who are left aren't really important to the Emperor's contingency plan. These are just left our goons, really, although some of them are dangerous. But so they've obviously went to this black market port, they've bought weapons. And obviously Bo-Katan and the crew of the steal the weapons back to use them against the Empire. So yeah, she informs Mando that they're going to be. She asks Mando for help. Mando says, "I've got my own mission. I need to take this guy back to the Jedi." And he waves, says that name as if like it's nothing. And you can tell, and you can see Bo-Katan like look at him, and then look at the child and say like,
"What do you know the Jedi?" And he's like, "Nothing." And then
and it's like he actually does not. He knows that
the three Mandalorians, they all like stare at each other. And then she eventually is like, "Well, I can lead you to one of their kind." She doesn't say I can lead you to a Jedi. She says I can lead you to one of their kind.
Yeah.
So obviously we'll get into what that means later when we get to that point in the episode. But there's something weird going on there.
Definitely. I think it's more just like how this guy's with this baby and like he's like kicked off about like how they take the helmets off. And then they've saved them again, and then they're like, "Oh, can you help?" And he's like, "Oh no, I'm looking for Jedi." And they're like, "Yeah." Like that name doesn't get said much. Like why?
No, I don't know.
Do you know them? And he's like, "Oh no." And I think they're a bit like, "Who is this?" Like, not even like I'm not saying they think he's stupid.
They
but,
probably
like,
think he's a bit of a rube.
they probably are thinking a bit like,
yeah.
like what is going on here?
Yeah.
Like, who are you? So it's an Imperial Gazanti freighter. Is that correct? Which I've not seen before. I don't believe.
It's
So you've
Rebels.
seen it in canon before?
It's in Rebels and Clone Wars, yeah. And there is a live action one in The Phantom Menace when Qui-Gon Jinn, Padme and all that are walking into Mos Espa. You can see one fly behind them. Yeah, they destroyed tons of them in
awesome.
Rebels and stuff. But yeah, it was cool to see. Like, it looked really good.
One of the things I noticed in this episode was the music when Bo-Katan and our crew turn up. It almost like picks up a notch, like fast paced and tense. And it's like different than we've ever heard in Star Wars before, but it does like fit perfectly into sort of what Bo-Katan does and what her crew do, which I really, really loved. Again, just giving more edges to Star Wars music, which, 10 years ago you would never have thought anyone else would be composing Star Wars apart from John Williams. But it goes to show again, like, what Ludwig's doing is like fantastic.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, he's definitely. The music doesn't really get mentioned anymore because people are just used to it being excellent. Yeah, and this is no different.
So we have Bo-Katan says I can direct you to one of the Jedi's kind if you help us attack the Imperial Gazanti freighter, and we'll steal the guns, steal the weapons. He agrees. He drops the child off with Frogman and Frogman.
And then Baby Yoda learns a lesson here. Obviously, he's looking at the eggs and he sees one hatch. So obviously, with some of the egg stuff last week, at least he's learning a lesson about. Yeah. Well, I was a bit worried at first because when it hatched out, I thought I was like, he's not going to grab that in the end, is he? But he doesn't. He's a good lad. I like how Mando warns when he drops him off. He says, "Mind your manners." He says, "What's your manners?" And then he says, it's funny that,
"You know what I'm talking about." Like there's a firm stamp on the child. And I like how like Mando's making these friends all over the place. So now he's got like Frog Lady and Frogman are his mates now. So like, and so is I forgot her name now. The mechanic from
I can't remember her name.
Mos Eisley.
Can't remember her name. Yeah.
But yeah.
What was her name? Amy Sedaris.
Played by Amy Sedaris.
Pelimotto.
It's Pelimotto, sorry. Yeah. So he's got friends with Pelimotto. He's got friends with Frogman and Frog Lady now. He's got friends still with obviously Grief Karga and Cara Dune. So he's making friends like outside of the cult that he's been a part of, which is brilliant. He's making friends here now with these Mandalorians. So he's making a good little support network for himself, which is awesome. So he drops the child off. The child learns a lesson about like life, which is fantastic. And then they go on this mission. And I like how when they're talking about the mission, they're all just resting on the top of the Razor Crest. And I love how if you look in the cockpit, maybe what was like inside the cockpit on his own,
which is funny.
Yeah, so very funny. So the plan is that once the ship takes off, we will jet back onto the ship. The ship can't ascend straight away. It needs to clear the shipping waters first before it can go up. So that's our time to strike.
Do.
And they attack. I love how when they first go in the door, the Mandalorians turn right, like in unison as a team, as a trio. And then Mando comes in, like turns left first, and then and then turns around, then follows them. And it's a bit like, again, I'm not saying he's stupid, but it's a bit like he's a little bit out of his depth here when working. We're like, because even though he's been part of that clan, I get the impression he's always worked alone. And then obviously here it's like, well, no, like these are like well trained killers who can help. So they start blasting away through the stormtroopers. Looks really, really cool. You see Bo-Katan Tresha stabs one twice in the throat in the night.
Turns around very slowly,
which was
money shot.
Yeah, so like the some brilliant, not only blaster fire kills here, but some awesome hand-to-hand combat action going on, which is fantastic. So they get so far. the Imperial captain's like, "Oh, pirates are on board."
Yeah,
like, "All
there's
right,
at least
then,"
10.
I think it's
Yeah,
like
and
quite a
they're
lot
like,
because of the amount of damage that's
there's
been
only
done.
4 life forms, and like, but the Mandalorian, it's like, oh no.
Yeah, and we then learn that they've been attacking a few different Imperial things in the sector. So they're heading for the weapons bay. The Imperial captain messages down to the
He comes
officer
across as a bit of an
who's
idiot,
running
that
the
officer.
cargo hold.
Yeah.
He does, because he's got his gun ready. He's like, "Hold them for as long as you can. We're going to go to jump light speed." And then as soon as he's got his gun up and all ready for like a big firefight, and like I was ready for
He's
a
like,
big
"Shut the
firefight."
doors,
And then as soon as they get like round the corner and he sees them, it's like, "Shut all the doors now." It's like, "What?" It's like, "Shut all the doors." He's like, "We'll lock them out," which at first is a good idea, I suppose.
Yeah.
The problem is where he locks them. He locks
they're
them in the cargo control area. Yeah. And obviously he messages at the captain, and the captain's face is like... So one of the things about this Imperial captain, played by Titus Welliver, is that he's... So, for example, the 2 pilots who are there, obviously young and like probably they're just there for a job type of thing. But like this captain is like Imperial through and through. So he's like, "What?" And then obviously they open the cargo hold doors, and all the troops and everything that's not just secured down flies out. And then they manage to go in and start seeing the weapons. And this is when we learn a secret that Bo-Katan actually, they're not there just for the weapons, they're there to steal the ship.
And she,
Mando's like, "You're changing the deal.
Him.
It's not what we agreed." Definitely, which is exactly what Bo-Katan would do. Yeah, she's like, I'm changing the deal.
Yeah, but the way she says it,
and she's like, "This is the way."
Yeah,
it's very condescending. Yeah, but it also lets him know that like, no, like we're doing this, and like you here now, do it, and then I'll tell you the information. And you can go back to the child. Which then leads to the next scene where they're heading towards the cockpit. More troopers come, and they're pinned down. And that's when Mando like does almost like a suicide run.
Obviously,
throws his bombs. Yeah, I get the impression that maybe his Beskar is like better than like any we've seen before. Obviously, his was like a lot of Beskar was using his armor. I remember because he got the Beskar from the client, and it was quite a lot. And it obviously, I'm not saying because it's more shiny means it's better, but it is more shiny, more like
stronger. Yeah. I don't know about stronger, but
But the design looks sleeker.
They got more coverage.
As well. Do you know what I mean? It looks like more. I don't know, better. It looks better crafted. Yeah, like do you know what I mean? So maybe
I was going to say, before he does the suicide dive, obviously
doesn't hurt him.
The captain receives a message from Moff Gideon, and obviously Moff Gideon's like, "What's the problem?" And the captain's like, "Oh, pirate attack," and still calling them pirates. And Moff Gideon, he's like, "We need immediate backup." And Moff Gideon doesn't say anything. He's like, "How much of the ship have they taken?" He says, "Everything from the bridge." And he's like, "Well," he says, "Obviously, we're past the point where backup is going to warrant anything." And then he says to him, "You know what to do." And obviously, the captain's like, "All right, yeah." And obviously, Moff Gideon says, "Long live the Empire." And the captain says, "Long live the Empire." He shoots the 2 pilots, and then obviously starts to take the ship down. Obviously, because they don't want it to fall into the hands of the Mandalorians. And that's why obviously Din's suicide run's so important, because the ship's going down. They have to get to the bridge. Otherwise, they're going to end up dead, because he's trying to crash the ship into the ocean.
Definitely, and they need that ship intact. So he does a suicide dive, takes a few hits, but he's all right. Chucks his bombs and blows up the troopers. They manage to get in the bridge where the rescue pull him off the controls. And they manage to level the ship out, save the ship. And then Bo-Katan interrogates the Imperial captain. She wants to know where a Darksaber is.
She says,
she
"Has he got
it?
I'm guessing she means Moff Gideon. Yeah. I assume she means Moff Gideon.
Yeah, she knows who he is.
I assume she does. So.
Yeah. And the captain says, "If you ask that question, you already know."
I'll let you
she's
live.
like, "If you tell us now, like I'll." And that's when it's almost Russian espionage style. He's got like a capture. He's got a cyanide capsule in his mouth, but it's obviously like an electronic device that must destroy his brain, I'm assuming, and kills him. Yeah, so he commits suicide because
Plus
as we've seen, he
plus
is
he says,
for the
you
Empire.
might let
Um,
me live, but he won't. So people are like legit terrified of Moff Gideon. Yeah.
fearful of him, yeah. So they save the ship. It's quite good this because even though they're probably going to exit paths here, because Moff Gideon's on a collision, because they're on a collision course with Moff Gideon,
Yeah.
and Moff Gideon's on a collision course with a child. It's like by
Oh,
season
yeah,
finale,
definitely,
we could have like everyone back together again here, which would be awesome. So yeah, Bo-Katan thanks the Mandalorian, invites him to join him in future missions. Says his bravery will be remembered, but he must continue on his own quest. Bo-Katan says offer still stands, so I'm assuming that means that whenever he
And
wants, he
then
can
we
find
get-
her and
Then we
and
get the
help
line.
him.
We get the
And
line.
then Bo-Katan give. Yeah, so the line that we knew was coming since the bar scene when they look after they discussed the word Jedi, Bo-Katan directs him to find the city of Colodan on the forest planet of Corvus, and that's where he'll find the Jedi called Ahsoka Tano.
Because I tend to believe now
Yeah.
that Ahsoka's not going to be a Jedi. She's still not a Jedi now.
So, like, here's what I think. Obviously, Ahsoka
Yeah.
is not a Jedi, as in she's not part of the Jedi Order. But to people who aren't in the Jedi Order,
Oh, she's more Jedi than people in the Jedi.
She's a Jedi.
Like, she's what a
So-
Jedi's meant to be.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
yeah, no. But I
Yeah,
mean, like,
yeah.
to people, to Bo-Katan, she's a Jedi.
But that's what I was saying in the battle where
She-
she goes,
she-
I can lead you
she's
to
a
one of
Jedi.
their kind, not I can lead you to a Jedi.
Yeah, yeah. So I think I
Yeah.
don't think like the differentiating there. I think it's a case of like to Bo-Katan, like she is a Jedi. Like, obviously, if you look at the finer details,
It is a bit
like,
weird though. It is a bit weird that like no
might not
one
be.
is like,
If that
oh, do
makes
you know
sense.
this guy Luke Skywalker? Like, they probably won't know where to find him, and he's off
Yeah,
doing whatever he's doing, researching the Force and all that type of stuff. But it is a bit weird how like everyone's like, have you not heard of this guy Luke Skywalker killed Darth Vader, blew up the Death Star? Yeah,
definitely.
yeah.
So I think
I know
obviously
what you
because he's
mean,
found Bo-Katan who knows Ahsoka, I think like it's like it's obviously a good connection here. So it obviously sets us up for the end of the episode is that he tells they go back to they go back to the ship first of all where it's been fixed now, and the monk he's like, what is
He
happening?
even
Everyone's
says
put
Mon
together
Calamari,
ropes.
so he doesn't think much of Mon Calamari engineering.
Yeah. And then the Mon Cala like just doesn't even say anything, just pulls the pad out for him to like sign for it, and it's just like
Yeah.
I honestly think that Mon Calamari is high as a kite, high on something, definitely some substance abuse going on. But yeah, gets a ship back, the take off. He said, "I know I'm taking you now."
He's not though.
I'm taking
That's
you
the
to
thing.
Corvus
I've
to the
seen
city of
I've
Caladan.
seen the description for episode 4, which means he's going back to Navarro first. It's I can't remember what the description
I
was.
wonder why he's going back there first.
But he's definitely going back to Navarro next week because obviously episode 4 of season 2 is directed by Carl Weathers. And then obviously episode 5 is directed by Dave Filoni. So if there's anyone, if Ahsoka is going to be in any episode, it's going to be episode 5 because it's Dave Filoni's character. So
yeah,
but yeah, I don't unless we see her like they leave it on a cliffhanger at the end of this week, like we see him arrive on Corvus and then you just see her turn around or something like a bit like the Force Awakens ending, and that's how it ends. But yeah, I don't think we might if we see her this week, it'll be a very brief thing.
Yep. So obviously the next episode is on this Friday, which is Friday the 20th of November, is chapter 4. Sorry, chapter 12, episode 4 of season 2.
It is, yeah.
So that's directed by Carl Weathers, who plays Grief Karga.
Yeah, he is, yeah.
And Mandalorian's go back to Navarro.
I don't know.
I wonder if he's going to get like the ship
be a
refixed
reason.
or
Like,
something.
they're going to be like, "Oh, we need your help," and that, and he's honor bound.
Oh yes, I'm saying that. Yeah. What if they
he's
put
like,
the
right,
call
I
out
have
when
to
he's on
help
the
these
way
people
to
to help me.
Corvus?
He's very
Obviously-
honourable, isn't he?
Yeah. Well, I said they are his buds.
Yeah.
Like I think like the people he's meeting outside of the cult, like he is making good friendships with. So I think he probably will go back. just some thoughts about the episode. Obviously, it was like, I think its running time was like 35 minutes. That's including credits. So I think it was probably like 33 minutes of action. It didn't feel that short.
Oh, it was very
but the whole episode felt like an adrenaline ride. It's just like, just as soon as they land, or crash landed, it was just like action, action, action. And then whenever it was like a quiet time, it was when like big story stuff was happening. So the mentioning of the Jedi, or the mentioning of Ahsoka, or the mentioning of the Darksaber. Whenever that quiet conversations were happening, like big things are being mentioned. So I absolutely love this episode, and I think I agree with you that it's probably my favorite episode.
Definitely, it's my favorite
Mandalorian so far.
That's the thing. I loved episode 4 of season 1, Sanctuary. I thought that was Bryce Dallas Howard as well. I loved obviously The Sin, which was episode 3 of the first season, which was Deborah Chow, and then I loved the finale was great, and I loved the premiere of season 2. But yeah, this one takes it with me so far. But I've got a feeling I'll probably say that about 4 more times before the season's out. But yeah, it's a wonderful episode, and it just sets everything up now. Like this was a worry for a lot of people. They thought, are these characters going to be shoehorned in? That's not going on. Every character that's came in, Cobb Vanth, like the teaser Boba Fett at the end, and then obviously Bo-Katan, like they've all fit the narrative. They haven't just been like, oh, we have to get Bo-Katan in. So they've all fit the narratives, which means Ahsoka is going to fit the narrative. So yeah. And this show it never disappoints. Never. That's all I can say.
Have you got any overall thoughts about the episode?
I think there's something weird going on with Ahsoka. I think there's something going on there because, like, at this point, have they found Ezra Bridger at this point? Because it's 5 years after Endor, which is when they started the search apparently for Ezra. But
so I mean, that all right.
What happens if he's there?
Mentioned?
What happens then?
I mean, what if? Oh, how about this? I mean, it would be disappointing. Maybe it'd be shocking. What if when he finally gets to Corvus, that like,
oh yeah,
and someone's like, oh, like yeah, Ahsoka's just left.
Is it going to be like a Luke Skywalker Force Awakens thing where he has
what
to
if it's yeah. Or what if it's something crazy? I mean, for me, because this episode set up Ahsoka, and then because you just mentioned that probably we're going somewhere else before Corvus now. What if we don't get Boba Fett until season 3?
We'll see Boba Fett. Obviously, there's the rumours of the Boba Fett miniseries that's been filmed. I don't know if that's true. But I don't think we'll see... We might get another tease. Or, like I said, like the first... We've only seen the first 4 episodes in the trailer because we haven't seen anything. We might have seen a split second of something from past chapter 4 of season 2. So what the hell is going to happen in these last 4 episodes? Because we haven't seen a thing. Like it's gonna be crazy these last 4 episodes because, like I said, we haven't seen anything from them, anything. So which means to me, there's got to be stuff in it where it's going to be like what. Moff Gideon mentions the Imperial fleet. Does that mean we see a Star Destroyer? Which would be cool in the end thing. Is Sabine with Ahsoka still? Are we going to see Sabine Wren? Is Captain Rex with them? Because that was the rumour for the Rebels animated sequel that Captain Rex is with them as well. Like, who are we going to see? Is Ezra Bridger with them? Are they going to be like, he's back? And then obviously we get the announcement for the long-rumoured Rebels sequel, and they'll tell the story of how he gets back, or are they still looking for him? What about Grand Admiral Thrawn? Obviously, if they're still looking for Ezra, Thrawn has to be involved at some point. Like, what is going to happen in these last 4 episodes? Like I said, we haven't seen anything, which leads me to believe they can't show anything, because it must just be pure craziness.
Yeah, definitely. I think for me, if they're going to do a series about finding Ezra,
I know what you mean.
I don't want to see Ezra found before I see that season. Because for me, I want the journey to be like, will they find him or they not? Because they might not find him. And if you know that, if you know that that's a possibility when you're watching it, it's going to add more of the enjoyment of the show. But if I already know that he turns up, I mean, it'll still be good if they do the story right. but it would just add that extra bit of like tenseness to it if you don't know that.
Just see, it's weird that, like, if they're searching for someone, it's weird that Bo-Katan knew where she was. If you know what I mean, like she knew she's on Corvus. Like if he was still searching, why would she know where she is, like, permanently? If she's just on Corvus for a stopover, because they're still looking, why would she know where she is?
Yeah, I mean, maybe the finals are 2
That's
years
what I mean.
ago.
It's been 5 years.
On.
Like, I don't see it taking 5 years to find him.
Yeah,
maybe it is. Because no one knows where he went. He's like in the new Star Wars book, the big Star Wars book by Pablo Hidalgo. It officially says the last time we saw Ahsoka and Sabine, they were journeying into the unknown regions. That's the actual thing in their bio. It says they were going into the unknown regions.
Yeah.
I'm guessing so. I'm guessing like Corvus must be in the known galaxy, because how would Bo-Katan know where it was if he was in the unknown regions?
Yeah. Yeah. And
he wasn't
Mando
like, oh, where's that? Like she
when she said it wasn't an issue for Mando. He wasn't like, I don't know. Yeah.
I'm guessing she's back from the search.
So we know that she's back then,
him?
I would say. So it doesn't mean that Ezra and Sabine are back.
But he said to her in Rebels,
just means that she's come back as all we know.
Like, I will. But I can't see her like, oh, I've got you so far and I'll leave you.
Yeah.
So something weird's going on, like something strange is going on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know, because like, let's just say they were successful.
Oh yeah, I know what you mean.
They probably wouldn't hang out forever. Like she sort of move on with what she's doing. Yeah. So, and if Ezra was very in love with the fall, so he's probably there with Sabine.
They're not mentioning anything about it. Dave Filoni knows how much people want to know. And the last time we saw Ahsoka and Sabine, they were looking for Ezra. So something's got to. So like, even if I don't think we'll see him. Like I said, it'd be a bit weird if like we haven't had the show to find him yet, and then we've seen him. But yeah, I just think there's something weird going on there. Like, we haven't seen any casting rumours for Sabine.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for me, like the amount of leaks that come out over I think like that would have been leaked. I think it like. There's no way the Ahsoka stuff and the Katie Sackler stuff gets out, and
and
that
definitely.
And that doesn't. It would have thrown the same way.
That's the one story I've wanted since Rebels ended. Like everyone's wanted that story. Everyone wants to know why, like where is Ezra? Obviously, that's why he's not around for the OT. That's why Ahsoka's not around for the OT. We still don't even know how she got off Malachor in Rebels. We don't know how she got off.
No, we do. She's no. So
yeah.
So
yeah. I mean,
before the military world, Ahsoka dies.
Like, I don't know, because there was no ships there. And then there was like these cards. I remember they released them for Celebration. It looked like her going down into the underworld. It was weird. It was weird, but yeah, there's a lot of questions to be asked.
Yeah,
but I'm excited with getting Ahsoka Tano in live action, which is pretty crazy.
Because I mean, those three Inquisitors would have had one ship each, one tie each on the planet.
Maul stole one. I know that.
I think one got destroyed definitely, but so
that's what I was looking for as well. Like obviously, I just didn't know about the Darksaber because he doesn't know about anything else. So I don't know if he'll know about the Darksaber. Din. I don't. You don't think he knows about it?
Who's at them? Nah. So yeah, I think his religious group that he's part of.
Yeah, she does say the ancient
the stuff they're preaching predates it.
Yeah.
Like even though the Darksaber's now ancient,
Mandalore Day One.
It even predates that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because she does explain to him like, I need something to rule Mandalore, and I'm trying to find it, and he doesn't go all the Darksaber way. If he knew about him, he's got the Darksaber, man.
And to be fair, she does.
And if you knew about the Darksaber,
right
you know about the first Mandalorian Jedi.
Like when she's talking to that Imperial captain. But I was saying, if obviously did meet up with Bo again, and he tells about the Darksaber, I thought it'd be insanely cool if we get like like in Rebels, where they do like the animated history of the Darksaber. It says about Tar Vizsla. it'd be awesome to see like live action
Yeah.
previous wielders of the Darksaber. So you see like a live action Tar Vizsla, you see Maul again.
Yeah.
I wonder how the Mandalorians feel about Maul, because obviously he did technically rule
definitely.
Mandalore for a time, but he's not Mandalorian. So I wonder, but it'd be awesome to see like a live action recap of like the history of the Darksaber, and you see like a live action Tar Vizsla, which I've been waiting to see more about since he was first mentioned in Rebels.
No, definitely.
But yeah,
Yeah. And obviously, although we the audience saw Moff Gideon with the Darksaber at the end of season 1, but the Mando didn't see it. So he's not aware of like
you think she's
any
looking
of
for
that.
Moff Gideon, and Mando,
so his audience are aware of that.
Mando's
the
probably
character
thinks
is
he's
not.
dead at this point, and you think like, who are you looking for?
Yeah.
But yeah, I do like the fact they mentioned as well, like the Moff Gideon said Imperial fleet, so there's definitely something still out there Imperial wise. It'd be cool to see Star Destroyers.
Definitely, yeah. I mean, I just wonder how you would. I would not just be a passing shot of like people on the
see, like
bridge, or whether it
Mandalorian,
be like a space
Gauntlet
battle,
fighters.
because possibly. But I mean, even if they're riding one, that's like one of them plus the Razor Crest. It's not really going to do much damage against
The Star Destroyer. Yeah.
Against the Imperial fleet. Yeah, and if there's more than one of them. So
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't mind just seeing them as like if there's just some.
I think we're
gearing
gearing up for a second siege of Mandalore.
That would be fantastic.
Next season, I think eventually we'll see the Battle of Mandalore.
Do you think they'll? Here's the thing. Do you think they'll like build that up and then that'll be a movie? Think about the budget you need for the Battle of Mandalore to do it justice. You're going to need like $100 million at least, which is what
they
the
must have
season
made
costs.
all that money back from the Mandalorian just on the Baby Yoda merch. And I'd like she said in the episode that like we want these weapons to retake our home world. So I could see it eventually, and like plus like you see like big battles in Game of Thrones and all that type of thing. I know it's different, it's swords and spears and all that, but it's still like dragons and stuff flying about. But I think like Disney Plus are operating on another level, like obviously, and I think eventually, it might be a movie. Like it could be a movie, but then I don't see it being a movie because then they'll be like, well, you have to watch this whole show, and then there's a movie, and then they'll be like, well, yeah, what's this movie based on? But yeah, you know what I mean?
Yeah. For me, it's just if you're going to spend over $100 million on 2.5 hours of television or 2.5 hours of story, putting it on Disney Plus,
not in the short term.
It won't equal your money back because your subscribers are already there. So for me, you would need to put it because it's only going to run. Maybe it runs 3 weeks. You get 3 weeks out of it. At the minute, they're spending $100 million and getting 8 weeks worth of television. So 8 weeks worth of subscription. If you know what I mean, where like if they were gonna do it that way, putting it obviously different story now. COVID's here, but like in a pre-COVID world, you put that in a theatre.
Maybe because in it,
like,
Taika was
generate
the
your
next Star
revenue there
Wars
across the world.
Maybe it is. Because he was involved with Mandalorian.
I mean, I mean, I've just my gut feelings that like that's something different. I think like they probably haven't decided how they're going to do it. I mean, this is the stories here they tell here in the Mandalorian are quite small. You know what I mean? It's very character driven. So I mean, if the Mando's not involved in the taking back Mandalorian, if he's off doing something else, you might not even see it. But that might be. I mean, for me, I thought with how good Bo-Katan and the other Mandalorians came off here, I'd love to see a series focusing on on missions.
Is it just going to be too much Mandalorian stuff? You know what I mean? Because obviously there's a Boba Fett show, and then they say, "Oh, Bo-Katan's going to get a spin-off and all that." It's like, so I don't want him to overdo it. You know what I mean? And like flood the market. Like there's other Mandalorian's great, but there's other things you could do as well. And like you said about like a Star Wars TV show is always going to be expensive. Like, it just has to be because that's the nature you're living in. But they're winning they're winning all kinds of plaudits with this show because it's groundbreaking. This show, and yeah, even if you're not a Star Wars fan, you can enjoy this show. That's how you know it's good. Yeah.
I think a lot of people are like especially season 1. I think like it got a lot of people watching it who like weren't necessarily had seen like the movies
that's how you
and
know you've
cinemas
got
and stuff, which is
like
cool.
But people like us are going to watch it no matter what. But when you've got people who are like who've like seen 1 or 2 Star Wars films and like, oh, this is great, like that's when you know you've got a hit on your hands.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Definitely, and obviously it is the flagship show of Disney Plus. So, and obviously because of Marvel sort of shutting productions down, like it's do you know what I mean? It still is the flagship show. There's been no show in between it. I think the most 2-watch shows on Disney
like
Plus
new
are
stuff, I'm guessing,
New Clone
because
Wars
I
and
like on
Mandalorian.
the trending section. I always see Simpsons trending number 1 on Disney Plus. Yeah, new show, yeah.
But I think like original content that's been designed for it. I think like those are the two. Those are the 2 things. So like you know like sort of Star Wars is pulling up by its belt at the minute.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think
that's why I think
there'll
be another behind the scenes season after the season finishes. Because because even that was received really well. So, a question for yourself: do you?
It hasn't. No.
Are you aware of Corvus? Has that been mentioned in canon before?
Yeah.
Caladan.
The only thing I've ever heard
city
of
of
Corvus
Caladan on
is
the
that's
forest
the
planet of Corvus.
name of the ship in Battlefront 2.
Very interesting.
Versio ship. I don't know if that will have anything. As I said, like I said, with the having Janina in to do the Mon Calamari thing. Right. Is there a tie in there? Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, the only time I don't
possibly
think so. I've never heard Corvus in canon. When she said Forest Planet, I thought she was going to say Endor or something. But I'll just have a look now on Wikipedia. But I don't think it's been mentioned, to be honest. But because, like I said, we haven't seen any forest in the trailer, so we haven't seen anything from there.
Yeah. So the next chapter, chapter 12, is directed by Carl Weathers, written by Jon Favreau. That's out November 20th, this Friday. And then chapter 13, which will be episode 5 of this season, is directed by Dave Filoni.
It's
written
new.
by Dave Filoni.
The only appearance is this Planet of Corvus has had his chapter 11 Mandalorian, so it's new.
Yeah. So I find that the next episode's written by Jon Favreau, directed by Carl Weathers. They'll all be written by Jon Favreau so far. And then episode 5, which is chapter 13, which airs on November 27th.
There you go.
That is directed by Dave Filoni, but it is written by Dave Filoni as well, which to me, it's the only episode this season written by Dave Filoni.
Yeah,
and it's the only episode directed by Dave Filoni this season. Oh, well, actually, it might not be because they haven't announced the directors for 6, 7, and 8. Obviously, one of the episodes is written by Rick Famuyiwa, so I would imagine he's directing that one. And then the other 2 are written by Jon Favreau. One of them will obviously be
I've no idea.
What's he called? The guy who directed Spy Kids.
All right.
Robert Rodriguez. One of them will be his movie, so it leaves there's one TBA. So maybe Favreau, maybe Dave.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe the trick number.
Yeah, definitely.
But who knows? But it's exciting times. So what's your thoughts on going back to Navarro in the next episode? Do you think it's going to be, you could almost put it this way. So obviously episode 1 of this season was like fast-paced, full of action, full of story, full of big things happening. Boba Fett's armor. And then we sort of had the warm down with episode 2 where I enjoyed the episode, but it was a warm down from the Star Wars drama of the galaxy going on. And this episode back with the big bangs. You know, we've got Bo-Katan, we've got Mandalore, we've got Ahsoka Tano getting mentioned. Big story things getting mentioned.
Well, all the
Do you
things
think
you've
maybe
seen
the
in
next
trailer,
episode
it
could
seemed
be
like
another
it'd be quite an
slowdown
action-packed
episode?
episode. It seems like I think they're going to break out the myth roll from the season 1. That's what it looked like in the trailer. Because they release them posters every Monday, don't they? Of, like the new character of the episode.
Yeah.
And I think this one will be the myth roll.
Mando Mondays, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I mean, Mythro's got his own Funko Pop now, so he's definitely doing something this season. Because like he didn't get a Funko Pop in season 1,
He must.
and that's where
He
we've seen
must
him last
have
time.
something
So he's
important.
got a season 2 Funko
Because I don't
Pop.
see him just breaking him out because he wants to be out. Yeah.
Well, they must be needing for something, I'm guessing. And he seemed quite like. If you remember in season 1, he told Mando that he could pay him.
Yeah.
And then he also told him that he could buy them a faster ride to go where they're going. So is he that rich? Yeah. I don't think he's rich, but I think he knows where money. He knows where money is, and he's like inside man and stuff. So maybe he's got loads of inside information about loads of different crimes and crime syndicates and stuff. And
so that's
why he's very useful. Maybe
I think he'll be on his way to Corvus, and then Cara Dune and Grief Karga will message him saying, "Look, we need your help." And then obviously his honour thing will kick in. He's like, "Look, these people have helped me before," and then he'll end up going back to Navarro. There's going to be some sort of Imperial thing there, because I've seen in the trailer them blowing up them TIE fighters that Moff Gideon had. So I could see him breaking the myth roll out for some reason, and then obviously he'll break the myth roll out, and then episode it'll end with him obviously on his way to Corvus, or like I said, we'll get the tease. He'll arrive on Corvus, and we might just see like Ahsoka Tano from behind, like in the end of Force Awakens. Maybe something like that. I can see that happening. Because I can already tell people will be like, "No Ahsoka this week, meh."
Definitely.
But no, I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, I've loved every episode so far. I even loved it, even though I only watched the Spider one once. But that's the main reason. That is because I hate spiders and they creep me out. But the premiere I watched about 6-7 times. This one I've already watched about 6 times. Sorry, my dog's just trying to climb on me. You little monkey. But
it's okay. We're dog. We're a dog-friendly show here.
That's what I was saying. Then obviously, the last 4 episodes are going to be absolutely insane.
Yeah. So here's a question for you. Obviously, I'd almost forgotten about it. I was sort of remembered. Obviously, we do have some Mandalorian
That's not coming out until
publishing
like
happening
October
soon.
next year.
We do have a novel written by
Adam Christopher.
Yeah,
it was supposed to come out earlier, but then it got pushed back to like October next year.
Really?
I know, that's what I mean. Because October next year, you think Series 3
I
will be
wonder what story that's telling.
next year, like May, I think.
Yeah, and do you know when we get in the visual guide written by Pablo Hidalgo?
I'm guessing it'll be season 1 and 2.
Season 1 guide, or
You
like
think?
just season 1 and 2, do you think? I hope so.
Yeah.
I know the Art of the Mandalorian season 1's just come out, hasn't it, by Phil Shostak. Yeah, and then there's a junior novelization, isn't it? That's of the first season. That's by George Schreiber.
They did say something about a comic, but nothing's been announced.
And there's meant to be a comic book series coming out, is that right?
Yeah.
I wouldn't have like these comics.
The big publishing thing that's happening at the moment is High Republic, and obviously
season 2 and stuff.
twice, and eventually it's coming out. I haven't read they released the first 8 chapters.
Yeah.
I haven't read them yet, so I need to read them. Yeah. I don't want to read them.
Yes. I thought it was cool, but I was like,
the book, and then I'm even going to have to reread the first 8 chapters again. Which I'd like, when they release like the little excerpts of the book, like on the Star Wars Del Rey thing. When I get to that point in the book, it kind of takes me out of it because I'm like, I've read this before, so I've stopped reading those excerpts. So what? Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the same. Sorry, I'm the same. It's like especially 8 chapters. I'm just like,
no.
Like no, like I don't need 8 chapters of the book. Like I'll buy the book and I will read the 8 chapters when I read the whole book. I just think it will be a nightmare. Like imagine having to flick through 8 chapters. Then you might remember some bits and not others. So you read some, then miss some. gets complicated. I mean, I like what they're doing. It's obviously generating interest, and people can get a feel for the books. But
yeah, definitely.
I just think 8 chapters is a lot. So just like one last point. Obviously, I know there's December.
Yeah, that's when
Disney investor call due, maybe around the 7th, I think, 7th of December.
Future is going to hold, because obviously there's all these unannounced projects. There's the Leslie Headland one. Maybe we find out what that is.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm sort of the thing where, like, on an investor call, I don't think they drop, like, titles
when Bob
and
Iger was in charge.
They might say...
He used to just drop stuff, and people were like, "Oh, right."
Yeah.
He used to just drop, like, big news. It was like, yeah.
Yeah, I think they mentioned new projects that we don't know about, but I don't think it would be like this is. I don't think it'd be like
but then Celebration's not until 2022, and if they want some of these shows out
and stuff like that.
And apparently, this investor call is the one that lays out the future projects for Disney Plus and all that type of thing. And I've been hearing for ages that this could be the call where we get some news, possibly with I don't know. No, the Mando won't be finished by then because it finishes on the 18th of December. I just realised I've got the last 2 weeks off work for that. That's be good. And sorry about that. I was just thinking in my head. And so I wonder if we
that's good.
Get a Rebels announcement sequel. We get a release date for the Bad Batch. We get something for Kenobi. Maybe we get a show that we haven't heard of yet because there's rumours of name a character. Every character's been rumoured to have a Disney Plus show in the work, but I've heard rumours of like a Darth Bane show, which would be sick.
Yeah.
But yeah, then that's going to be. I think it's the 7th of December. I'm not sure. It's definitely that week, but it's definitely there's a big investor call in December going over the future of Disney Plus and projects and stuff. Like you said, because there's obviously got all the Marvel shows, and they announced a ton of them, like Moon Knight. Which obviously, apparently, Oscar Isaacs has been cast as the lead. Obviously, a Star Wars connection there. But you might get release dates for like She-Hulk and Moon Knight.
Apparently, I've heard that.
Miss Marvel and all that type of thing, which would be cool. But yeah, that's the only thing I've heard on that. And it'd be cool just to get some news. Obviously, Celebration was supposed to happen this year, so I wonder if they would maybe announce something on that investor call.
I mean, I don't do it for me. I hope they don't. I don't mind them on the investor call talking about like, we've got X amount, this project, that part, and this project come in development, and don't really mention much for me.
But they might do that.
But they give a little presentation on it and release it in a video format online. That really gets I can do that when you're ready. I think I think this summer there's proof that Slash Film and Variety, Hollywood Reporter saying that Boba Fett's back in that, Ahsoka Tano's back in that, Bo-Katan's back, just doing nothing but take away some of the specialty out of this season, and I think they need to get away from that.
Yeah, like I said, if it's in things like Variety and Hollywood Reporter, it's pretty much guaranteed to be true. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, well, I mean, those things. I mean, they were right. Do you know what I mean? But for me, I think as soon as they asked Lucasfilm for comment, Lucasfilm should have been right. We'll put together a little snippet of a picture from a set, and we'll create excitement and get the creative juices flowing. We'll get the fans craving it rather than a black and white story where they're we've heard this because we've got spies inside the company who can't stop talking. And for me, that's a big thing.
I'm guessing people it's a lot to do with COVID as well. A lot of people are working from home and that type of thing. I think if it was a closed set, because no one knew about the Baby Yoda in season 1.
Well, that's what I mean. And I just think, I don't know, it's someone's obviously speaking, and you would think that, for me, I know people who work on these things, work damn hard, and they want the payoff to be when people watch it. They put the heart and soul into this storytelling. And I think when journals run their stories spoiling it, I think it not only does it spoil the story for us, but it takes the shine off the hard work that these storytellers are doing. And that's not just the writers and the directors and the producers, but that's the visual effects people, it's the makeup guys, that's the costume guys, it's the prop makers. It's the people who like the show, like all those people. Like I said, they're probably. I mean, the next season's going to be like COVID secure set, even more stresses. So like, I'd hate for that to get leaks because these people are working so hard to create such good stories for
they're
us.
in the business of
And then,
breaking
like,
news,
these
so
media
you
outlets
can't
are
really blame
spoiling
them if someone's told them. It's the people who've told them that I've got a problem with. Like, you shouldn't. But people are always going to get things are always going to leak.
Yeah,
And that's the case these days. To be fair, unfortunately, the internet does it.
Yeah. I mean, but it doesn't always happen when things are done right. So like, let's take professional wrestling. When Edge returned to Royal Rumble,
people did have a clue. I think there were rumours
no one had a
that
clue.
he might come back. Yeah,
last year. I think people. Yeah. So the guest he was because he'd been the rumors were he'd been signed off 6 months before. So the rumors were Edge will be coming back, but then he didn't. And then, like I said, there was no sightings of him anywhere in the city. Like, and when he come out, people were probably hopeful, but like they didn't know, and there was no like dirty go. Oh, we've seen him here. Yeah. Like I said, he was snuck in, and then like when he come out, you see like the crowd reaction. If you want, like people being like, "What on earth? What? He's here." And then like if you take the Child season 1, no leaks. If you take Force Awakens,
the Rise of Skywalker, everything
Last
came
Jedi,
out. I don't know the movie first.
No spoilers come out before the movie came out. Well, again, Rise of Skywalker, like, so I know that, like, I know for fact there was people who had pictures from the production that they were then sending them to other people online, like sort of, oh, have you seen this? Sort of spin it around that way, being a bit creepy about it, to be honest with you. But it's like, and it's just like how is that since 2015 to like 2018, or even before then, so let's just say from 2014 to 20 to like the beginning of 2019, like nothing's got out at all, and then all of a sudden, like for Rise of Skywalker, all this leaking stuff that's before COVID, sorry, pre-COVID, and then Mandalorian season 2, all this stuff getting out. So all of a sudden, like the walls have come down.
No. Well, like I said, people are always going to talk.
And it's not for the best, I don't think.
People can't be quiet. But, yeah, it's just what it is, to be fair.
Yeah. Have you got
to be fair, I think we've covered it. Like,
final thoughts about The Mandalorian in general, or Star Wars in general?
There was one thing I heard. I don't know if it's true, right? And I find it very hard to believe. You know the Force Unleashed games? There's a rumour going around that the Force Unleashed 3 is in development.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's true. And like, if it was the case of, is it the Force Unleashed 3, or are they doing a new Force Unleashed game that is a reimagining of that character's thing? So that's the only thing I've heard. Other than that, no, mate, nothing really. Yeah.
Because I enjoy playing the Force Unleashed games, but I'm not and this is probably one of the minority. Yeah, like I'm not a fan of that story being in canon.
It beats like the Emperor and Darth Vader in one day.
Too powerful for no reason. Yeah, and especially when we see the Emperor.
I think there is room to tell
every once now.
A Galen Marek, who
it's a bit
obviously
like
is Starkiller
so
in the game.
I don't know.
I think there is room to tell a story.
Yeah,
but yeah, I like a lot of people going about Rey being overpowered, but I love the character. I love Galen Marek as a character, but he is ridiculously. I know it's a video game, and it was made in a time there wasn't canon, and that it was just legends, and you could do it was a bit of a Wild West type thing. And you do what you want, and obviously it's a video game, and like the whole point was the Force is unleashed, and you can do these amazing things. But yeah, it wouldn't fit in canon. Like the story of Darth Vader having a secret apprentice and it being Galen Marek could fit in canon, but it couldn't fit in canon with him in pulling Star Destroyers out the bloody air and
yeah. I just think like if he did have one, I think like for me, we've had like 3 volumes of 3 different timelines of Darth Vader comic now where like it hasn't referenced it, where like you would think it would have by now, and like Rebels where we've had these other Jedi running around and it hasn't referenced him. I think like because so much more new content's come out in the past 5 years,
to be
like and that's not been mentioned. It's a bit like would he have could he have popped up in the Force
that he was going to be an Inquisitor.
Jedi Fallen
They
Order?
were going to make him an Inquisitor for season 2 of Rebels, but then that got shelved. Unless I don't see it happening because they're very thinking about canon. Unless they say, look, here's the Force Unleashed 3. It's not canon. Because everyone, people do love them games. And the 2 was rushed, and even the person who created 2 said it was rushed, and it wasn't as good as the first one. But people do love them games. Yeah, it was 5 hours to complete the whole story.
It was very,
but there was
short and material.
Rumors because obviously the 2 ends with you captured Darth Vader. I think the light side ending was the canon version in the expanded universe, and I think 3 was supposed to be after you get off Kamino, the ship crashes, then you have to work with Vader on this planet to survive, which would have been cool. Like I said, unless they just say, look, this is for Force Unleashed 3, it's not canon, but here you go, it's a game, it'll sell. I don't see him doing it, but maybe they do. Yeah, I know what you mean. The only thing they've done, they
I
did
think it's
that
difficult when
Legends
they said everything's canon now
continuation,
going
didn't
forward.
they?
It's a bit.
They've
it's hard.
released a Legends comic that followed on a few of the threads from Legends a while back. Yeah, there's one thing they've done for Legends, but I don't see the harm in it. If they just said, look, this is Star Wars Legends, it's not canon, but... And because I would still want them to resurrect Star Wars 1313.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. If they're going to start putting games out, they made a decision to shut down LucasArts, so it's it'd be interesting to see where they would go from there. Because
it's always
1313, they've pretty much referenced that big time.
Because I remember seeing they dropped
Clone Wars,
a trailer,
just recently,
a gameplay trailer at E3. I can't remember what year it was. It'd be early 2010s, and it looked amazing. It looked so good. And then eventually, you were going to find out it was Boba Fett you were going to play, and it did look good. And every time I see stuff from it, you're like, that game looks so good. They've cancelled tons of games. They cancelled the Amy Hennig Visceral game where they released that little short thing where you walked out the canteen on Tatooine and you saw a Star Destroyer overhead and that. Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know what happened with that because I get the impression that was EA and the developers having feuds.
That's the one thing. If I could change,
EA want to make games where you buy loot boxes essentially.
I wouldn't let if they want to make Battlefront and that, fair enough, because it's DICE and all that. But I wish they didn't have exclusivity to the license. There's so many studios who are experts in this one thing. You could have I'd say Rockstar Games, but a studio like that who obviously makes Grand Theft Auto and all that. These open world games and a Star Wars open world game and that. I just think they've had the license since 2014 and we've only got 2 Battlefront games, Squadrons, and the 2 Battlefront games, they're multiplayer games. The story modes are short, and we've got Jedi Fallen Order, which was amazing. And I'll give them the credit. When they launched Battlefront, I think Disney must have been thinking, look, you need to turn this around now because if you don't turn it around, we're going to take the license off you because we're getting grief because the way they opened up Battlefront 2 was shocking with the loot boxes and that. And people will buy them. I don't buy loot boxes, but people will buy them. And it's one thing I can't stand in games these days. You buy a game, and it's not you're not just buy a game. It's you can buy a game, but then you can buy these loot boxes and all that type of thing. And it's no, it's not how I want to play. I buy a game for they're not cheap now either. It's not like you're buying a game for 20 quid. You're buying a game for 60, 70 quid. And it's just but you can add all this, and people will buy them. I used to be bad. When I was in the army, a bit younger, I used to buy them stupid shark cards on Grand Theft Auto, and I must have spent a couple £100 on them, just buying them. And it's just something it's just
probably
games at the moment, and I'd just like them to step it up a bit because, like I said, Battlefront 1 and 2, Battlefront 2 was very good come the end, but then they've stopped it, and the Squadrons is very good. But it's a minimal game. It's a multiplayer flight simulator. It's not the most complex game to do. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I'll give them credit for that. They didn't charge 50. I think if it was charged a full price for a game, I don't think people would be very happy again. But they have. But they're EA.
So I think they have listened to the criticisms and are trying to do the right thing. But for me, I think unless they pitch really good stuff when it comes to negotiate that exclusivity,
I
As
think
far
it,
as Disney
I
Lucas
think
be
it
like,
runs to
well,
like
no, you can still
2023. I
pitch
think they're
games and make some
licensed.
games, but also we will listen to other people as well.
Yeah, that's the one thing I could change. It would be to like open up the rights to Star Wars games, and because I've been like I love Jedi Fallen Order. I love like the Battlefront 2 come the end, but they've had by the time that license runs out 10 years and they've only released 4 games, and like I said, 3 of them are online multiplayer games, which like obviously they're probably very complex to make, but they're not like the most deepest of games, like if you know what I mean. And we've grown up with like Knights of the Old Republic, The Force Unleashed, all the Rebel Assault games and all that type of thing, like really good games. And sometimes it's just a bit underwhelming what they've done with the Star Wars license. To be fair, because like a Star Wars game is going to sell. Like you're already ahead of the curve. If you put Star Wars on a game, people are going to buy it. It doesn't give them an excuse to like make poor games. Like you have to deliver then, but you're already ahead of the curve.
Yeah.
With a game if it's a Star Wars game, because people are like, oh, Star Wars game, cool. But other than that, mate, no, that's my final thought.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Just obviously we've been talking about the Mandalorian today. For those people so Element Skateboard Company, or like a skateboard / fashion brand, and they've got a Mandalorian collaboration. So you just head over to elementbrand.co.uk or elementbrand.com if you're in the US, I'd imagine. There's like Star Wars times Element collection inspired by the Mandalorian. I've just ordered 2 t-shirts myself from it, but they've got like hoodies, sweatshirts, long sleeve t-shirts, short sleeve t-shirts. There's a skateboard on there. There's socks on there. There's some really
a bit. Yeah.
You know, sometimes I think some of the license and stuff like that still can be like tacky sometimes, but I would say in my case anyway, the majority of this drop is pretty good.
I'll have to have a look at that. Yeah,
some of it I'm not a fan of, but the majority I'm pretty happy about. So definitely worth checking out if you like Star Wars and fashion. Yeah, it's like skateboards, wheels, socks, and then there's like long sleeve t-shirts, short sleeve t-shirts, some decent stuff, hoodies and that. It's definitely worth checking out. But yeah, that's probably the only thing I was gonna mention was that.
Definitely, mate. 100%. Yeah, we'll keep this up.
Well, cheers very much for joining us, Ian.
Sometimes
are you going to be joining us next week?
Trying to find out a time for us to record, because obviously you work 12-hour shifts and I work like set patterns. So yeah, sometimes but we always get together. We'll get it together and we'll get it recorded. I'm on social media.
I certainly will.
At Star Wars Ian.
Just one last thing, where can people find you on social media?
Find me for daily Star Wars rantings and ravings, to be fair. Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, I love your Twitter, Instagram just for the sheer like amount of awesome. You post a lot of cool content about like what you're thinking about at the time. Awesome pictures. You get some awesome canon references in there.
I'm a nerd. What can I say?
Legend stuff as well. Sort of you cover sort of all of Star Wars, which I find really, really cool. Yeah, definitely. But no, thank you very much, Ian. Please follow us on Twitter at BoresStar. That's at BoresStar. And on Instagram and Facebook at Star Wars Podcast. You can also reach us on email at starwarspodcast@gmail.com. Star Wars Show can be found on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Anchor, and wherever podcasts can be found. Please give us a like, subscribe, and don't forget to leave a 5-star review. May the Force be with you.